only you, Lord. I love only you, Lord. I love only you, Lord. My heart wants only you. To follow in your path, Lord, to follow without fainting, bowing at your throne, Lord, and never looking back. Amarte solo a ti, Signor. Amarte solo a ti, Signor. Amarte solo a ti, Signor. Y no mirar atrás, seguir tu camino, Señor. Seguir sin desmayar, Señor. Postrado ante tu altar, Señor, y no mirar atrás. Seguir tu camino, Señor. Seguir sin desmayar, Señor. Postrado ante tu altar, Señor, y no mirar atrás. I love only you, Lord. I love only you, Lord. I love only you, Lord. My heart wants only you. To follow in your path, Lord. To follow without fainting, bowing at your throne, Lord, and never looking back. To follow in your path, Lord, to follow without fainting, bowing at your throne, Lord, and never looking back.
Once again, we meet for another Living Hope Today's study. Church, I want to welcome you and say thank you again for attending. We're getting towards the end of Leviticus. We're in chapter 26 today. Chapter 27, God willing, tomorrow will end this book for us. So it's time for you, if you've been paying attention, we've been talking about a theme that's been going on since chapter 1. The main theme, the main issue that includes all of what Leviticus is saying. All right, if you remember what that is, put it in the comments, and we'll discuss it again tomorrow as we end this book. Today, chapter 26, we're going to deal with one word. The word is if. You know, if presents a condition. You've probably lived with the if most of your life, right? Your mom says, if you clean your room, we can go to the movies. Or maybe if you clean your room, you won't get whooped. But there's a condition. If you decide to do what you've been asked to do, then the condition is met and the benefit comes. If you decide not to do what you've been told to do, the condition is not met, and there's also a response that comes from that. Well, it happens like that in Leviticus 26. First, once again, God begins by telling his people things that he doesn't like. Don't make idols. All right, we've learned that from Exodus 20. God does not want us to worship anyone other than him. And in more detail, don't set up an image. Don't set up a sacred stone for yourselves. Don't place a carved stone in your land to bow down before it. I don't want you to worship anything. I don't want you to have statues around that you can bow down to. This is not the way. God says, I'm the Lord. Pay attention. This is God speaking. Then he says, I want you to observe my Sabbaths. Hey, and I want you to have reverence for my sanctuary. And once again, this line that keeps coming is here again, I am the Lord. In other words, I have the authority to help you understand this is how to live. This is what I want. All right. Well, here we go. Here comes that word, if. Here it is. Here's the condition. If you follow my decrees and you're careful to obey my commands. What is that about? Well, the condition is do what I tell you. What's going to happen if we do it? Well, I'll send you rain in its season, and the ground will yield its crops, and the trees of the field their fruit. That sounds pretty good. So what's that? You're going to have a bountiful amount of food to eat. Your threshing will continue until grape harvest, and the grape harvest will continue until planting, and you will eat all the food you want and live in safety. Look at this. You're gonna have a full tummy because God's gonna make the land produce all the bounty that you can plant. He's gonna bring great crops in, and then hey, you're gonna have safety too. So now we're talking about if you meet this condition, live like I want you to, obey me. Well, your crops are gonna flourish. You're gonna have all kinds of food, and you're going to live in safety. You're not going to be under constant attack. I'm going to grant peace in the land, and you will lie down and no one will make you afraid. I'll remove savage beasts from the land, and the sword will not pass through your country. Hey, that sounds good, right? Plenty to eat, peace, no war. You will pursue your enemies, and they will fall by the sword before you. Oh, here's another thing. Not only will you have peace and safety, you'll have victory over the people that don't like you. 5 of you will chase 100, and 100 of you will chase 10,000, and your enemies will fall by the sword before you. Well, that sounds pretty good. What triggers all this? Meeting the condition of obedience to God. He keeps going. I will look on you with favor. I will make you fruitful and increase your numbers. Oh, wow. So you're going to have plenty of kids, and I'll keep my covenant with you. Oh, now see, you got to like that, right? God still is rooted in blessing his people based on the promise that he delivered all the way back to Genesis with Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. The covenant is still in place. If that condition is met, blessing is on the way. You will still be eating last year's harvest when you will have to move it out of the way to make room for the new. In other words, bounty, plentiful food, everything. I'll put my dwelling place among you. Oh, wow, look at this. I will not abhor you. Look at this. I will walk among you and be your God, and you will be my people. I mean, hey, time out. That's got to be a great verse. In fact, at the end of the book of Revelation in the New Jerusalem, isn't that exactly what God says he's going to do? We won't need the sun because he's going to be our light. He'll be among us. God says, look, if you'll just do what I tell you, meet that condition, and I'll do it right now. In Leviticus 26, we won't have to wait till the end of the book of Revelation in the new earth. Just obey me. That's it. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt so that you would no longer be slaves to the Egyptians. I broke the bars of your yoke and enabled you to walk with heads held high. Don't forget the power I've already exerted in your life. Here it is. But if, now we're going to see what happens if you don't meet the condition of simple obedience. That's all he's asking for. But if you will not listen to me and carry out all these commands, and if you reject my decrees and abhor my laws and fail to carry out all my commands and so violate my covenant, notice at the end of 15, covenant is the issue. We've made a promise. You want to go against that? Well, then I will do this to you. So dismiss the if. Decide you're not going to obey. Here it comes. I will bring upon you sudden terror. Oh, yeah, forget about that living in peace thing. Wasting diseases. Oh, forget about health and fever that will destroy your sight and drain your life away. You will plant seed in vain. Oh, forget about that plentiful crop because your enemies will eat it. I will set my face against you. Oof. That's a rough verse there. I'll set my face against you so that you will be defeated by your enemies. Those who hate you will rule over you. You will flee even when no one is pursuing you. If after all this you will not listen to me, in other words, you're still unwilling to meet the condition of obedience even after all the suffering I've just described to you, I will punish you for your sins 7 times over. There's going to be huge consequences for disobedience. So what's the person who's thinking right going to do? Well, they're going to say, well, I think I'd rather obey God than suffer all this. But in the sinful nature, in the hardness of our hearts, you know the history of Israel, you know the history of your own life. We still want to go our own way. And here he says it, I will break down your stubborn pride. I'm going to make the sky above you like iron. Oh, so forget about the rain. And the ground beneath you like bronze. Hey, forget about those bountiful crops. Your strength will be spent in vain because your soil will not yield its crops, nor the trees of the land yield their fruit. Here's another if you remain hostile toward me and refuse to listen to me, what am I going to do? I will multiply your afflictions 7 times over as your sins deserve. Notice 21. It's very important. I'm not doing this to you because I hate you, because I'm, just somebody that likes to be mean to people. No, I love you, but you're sinning. When the child does something wrong, what happens? If it's a good parent, the parent punishes the child, corrects the child. God is doing what to his people here? He's telling them what's going to happen if they don't obey. If you want to live in sin, if you want to reject me, if you want to walk away from what is true and good and blessed, well, then here's what's going to happen to you. And notice, God is the one doing this. God is the one bringing judgment. I will send wild animals against you. They will rob you of your children, destroy your cattle, and make you so few in number that your roads will be deserted. If in spite of these things you do not accept my correction, but continue to be hostile toward me, in other words, you really want to go the hard way, I myself will be hostile toward you. Oh, Lord, help us. Okay, forget about the crops and the rain and the plentiful soil. We'll get rid of all that, but then I'm going to become your enemy. I'm going to be the one attacking you. I'm going to afflict you for your sins 7 times over. I'm going to bring the sword upon you to avenge the breaking of my covenant. There it is. This is such an insightful verse. What's God doing in regard to punishment? It's coming to avenge the breaking of the covenant. We've made promises to each other. We're supposed to be together. You're not fulfilling your if. You're not walking in obedience. When you withdraw into your cities, I will send a plague among you, and you will be given into enemy hands. When I cut off your supply of bread, 10 women will be able to bake your bread in one oven. They will dole out the bread by weight. You will eat, but you're not going to be satisfied. Oh, remember, you were supposed to be eating this year's crop by moving last year's crop out of the way. God says, no, if you're going to go the way of sinful humanity and disobey me, you're not going to be like that. You're going to barely be eating anything. If in spite of this you still do not listen to me, but continue to be hostile toward me, look how the detail of God outlining the consequence for disobedience. Then in my anger I will be hostile toward you. I myself will punish you for your sins 7 times over. You will eat the flesh of your sons and the flesh of your daughters. Wow. So great famine's going to come upon you, so much so that you're starving to the point where you're going to endorse cannibalism, even of your own children. Now, if you know the history of Israel, you'll see that they don't obey God. You get into the prophets and you start reading what God does in response to their wicked disobedience, and you see that it does get to this level. I will destroy your high places. I will cut down your incense altars, and I will pile your dead bodies on the lifeless forms of your idols, and I will abhor you. Ay, ay, ay. That is a terrible verse. I mean, God's not playing. Don't disobey God. Do you kind of get the idea of what's being communicated here? I will turn your cities into ruins and lay waste your sanctuaries. I will take no delight in the pleasing aroma of your offerings. I will lay waste the land so that your enemies who live there will be appalled. I will scatter you among the nations. Oh, you see that line in 33? You know the history of the Jewish nation? They were scattered for millennia before 1948, when God opened the door to bring his people back to the promised land. For millennia, this verse was in play through the disobedience of God's people. I will scatter you among the nations and will draw out my sword and pursue you. Your land will be laid waste, and your cities will lie in ruins. This sounds really bad. Then the Lord will enjoy the land will enjoy its Sabbath years, all the time that it lies desolate, and you are in the country of your enemies. Oh, there it is, exile. You know the history of Israel. This happens. Then the land will rest and enjoy its Sabbath. So the land will be obedient, even though you've been exiled and are being tortured in some other country. All the time that it lies desolate, the land will have the rest it did not have during the Sabbath when you lived in it. As for those of you who are left, I will make their hearts so fearful in the land of their enemies that the sound of a wind-blown leaf will put them to flight. They will run as though fleeing from the sword. They will fall, even though no one is pursuing them. There is no peace when we abandon obedience to God. They will stumble over one another as though fleeing from the sword, even though no one is pursuing them. So you will not be able to stand before your enemies. You will perish among the nations. The land of your enemies will devour you. Man, I feel like I'm reading a history of the Jewish people. But it could be our history too, as we continue to disobey God with impunity, without any sort of fear. Those of you who are left will waste away in the lands of their enemies because of their sins, also because of their fathers' sins, they will waste away. But if, here comes the third sequence of ifs. You know, you get down, you're being judged, you see the pain, you feel it, you don't like it, what do? But if they will confess their sin, there it is. Hey, God, excuse us, but we got off on the wrong track here. We're going the wrong way. We've suffered enough. We want to come back. if they will confess their sins and the sins of their fathers, their treachery against me and their hostility towards me. So there's another if. If you obey, blessing. If you disobey, terrible consequence. If you confess, all right? Confess your sins, which made me hostile toward them, so that I sent them into the land of their enemies. Then, when their uncircumcised hearts are humbled, and they pay for their sin, I will remember my covenant with Jacob, and my covenant with Isaac, and my covenant with Abraham, and I will remember the land. We're back to the promise. I'm not going to forget my promise to you just because you're disobedient. For the land will be deserted by them, and will enjoy its Sabbaths while it lies desolate without them. They will pay for their sins because they rejected my laws and abhorred my decrees. Yet in spite of this, when they are in the land of their enemies, I will not reject them or abhor them so as to destroy them completely, breaking my covenant with them. I am the Lord their God. There's a sermon right there. God's faithful even when we're not. But for their sake, I will remember the covenant with their ancestors whom I brought out of Egypt in the sight of the nations to be their God. I am the Lord. These are the decrees, the laws, and the regulations that the Lord established on Mount Sinai between himself and the Israelites and through Moses. Okay, so if. I guess, I don't control how this nation moves that I live in. I see that this nation and many political circles completely reject what God says. They'll have nothing to do with it. They're opening themselves up to the judgment of God, right? I can't fix them, right? I just have to look at my life. You have to look at your life and say, what if? Will I obey what God says today and meet that condition so that he can bless me in my life and lead me and walk with me and we can have that union that he desires for us? Or will I do whatever I want and face the consequence? The if really matters, church. God bless you. Serve him well today.
Who is it who for sinners shed his blood, and now for cleansing all can pluck